Okay, this is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen again. This is part 2. This is God's War, number 4. It's in 3 parts. I already made part. I'm right now uploading part 1 of GODScoin. Okay, it's a 3-part series, God's Point 4, on YouTube. Okay, now what's happening? I just got through trying to make it. I already explained what GODScoin about GODScoin. GODScoin is a share. It's not a currency. It's a share. You should have got that idea from what I just mentioned, because God's Living Ministry does not handle any money. We won't be handling any money because it's instantly divided. Satoshi Nakamoto's money in Bitcoin is $187 billion. Will be immediately divided between 150 million Congolese. At least put into accounts. It won't be divided. It'll be available into the Congolese banks for every Congolese to come get. Who's not going to come get it? Now, God chose Satoshi to bail out the Congo. Donald Trump is going to be offered to bail out Burundi with his $8 billion. However, actually in both countries, the Burundian franc is 5,000 Burundian francs to 1. Okay? That means that in GODScoin, I will be giving Donald Trump, for his $8 billion, 5,000 times his $8 billion. Meaning he'll be a trillionaire in GODScoins. He'll be a trillionaire in GODScoins. He'll be instantly the wealthiest man in the world. He would be. But there's going to be a couple more that are even going to be wealthier than he is. Okay, but that's a step up. Going from a billionaire to a trillionaire. That's what Donald Trump's going to do. The same thing, I'm sending out a same recording going to Satoshi, then to Elon Musk, then to Bill Gates, then to Jeff Bezos, to do the rest of Africa. Bill Gates, you're being offered to Palestine, to bail out Palestine. If you refuse, I'll make the same offer to Iran. I'll make the same offer to Israel as long as they stop killing. Whoever stops the killing will stop the killing. Donald Trump did it on his last election, said no country can fight without bullets or food. Army doesn't run on an empty stomach, nor does it can fight without bullets. They can't go without fuel to get to the war. It takes money. Cut off the money, you cut off the war. It's exactly what God's strategy is. God's strategy is the same thing. GODScoin is going to empty the pockets of every government. Empty every source of money except for GODScoin. And who's going to own GODScoin? GODScoin owners. The first thing GODScoin people are going to get is a phone to do the banking. Every 18-year-old will get a phone like the one I'm making this video with. This phone is the lifeline. And I was telling you that God waited many years. He had to wait on 5G. He had to wait on the I-16. It couldn't be done before. I just got through telling you that. So this is a continuation. When you get the GODScoin, every 18-year-old will get a GODScoin. Every 18-year-old in the family must go to the bank. Somebody in that family that's an 18-year-old, the parents or the siblings that are 18, can go to the bank and they will have everybody's account on that bank. The accounts can go for anywhere from a newborn baby to the oldest person in the household. The idea is it's ageless. Okay? Everybody's going to have an account that's inside that thing, and it'll be on that phone. So one person will physically have to go there. What does this phone have? It has facial recognition, it has voice recognition, it has fingerprint identification, and it has your hand geometry. This is enough that once they're given an iPhone 16 at the bank, it will be set up. These things will be set up. You simply close the phone and then reopen the phone for the bank, him to set up the banking. And then at that time, the banker will put everybody's account on that phone. And when they put everybody's account on that phone, it will not ask you an address. It's not asking for any numbers, anything other than your birthday. It will ask you for your birthday. It'll ask you for your legal birth name. This is the only thing this data is going to be collected. The banks won't even be able to reveal anything about your account to anybody. Not even the police, unless it was by warrant. They have to have an investigation, and it has to be a reason for it. The phone number especially. Nobody's going to know this phone number. Your phone will be have two phone numbers. One is going to be this phone number that only the bank knows at first. Anyway, the idea is for identification. That's where you'll do your banking. That's simple enough. That should be understood. Nobody can ever do any. There's no credit cards anymore, no debit cards, no checking accounts, nothing like that. There will still be a checking account because that has to be made on huge amounts of money that they can go out on. There won't be. It's not necessarily a checking account. It's a bank draft. Bank drafts will take the place of checking accounts. But we're talking about adding, okay, this is what I'm talking about, 9 billion accounts to the world's accounts. You wonder what the banks are, the banks ain't going to go broke because you get 9 billion open accounts. The banks will be the biggest business in the world. There's going to be so many banks, there's got to be one just about within a quarter of a mile of everybody's home. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Every country will have to have, with 9 billion accounts, there'll have to be hundreds of banks in every city. Literally hundreds, but some cases thousands, like New York City, LA. These countries will have thousands of banks, which they already do. But the point is, you're handling 9 billion accounts. There's not going to be a need for credit cards. Nothing, because everybody's going to be getting so much money. Nobody's going to be borrowing money. Nobody's going to be soliciting. Soliciting will be illegal anyway. Data collection is going to be outlawed. Furthermore, every bit of data is going to be collected. It will be collected. It won't be burned. It won't be thrown away. It's going to be collected. And it's going to be made. It's be revealed. Transparency. We want to know what happened in the past. It'll finally be true. We'll find out what happened with the aliens. We'll find out what happened with the Bible, the Torah, the Quran. We'll find out the truth behind the changes that were made in every book, in aliens, everything they got covered up, in secret societies. This is what's coming. These are God's tests. Every one of these people are going to be told they have one chance. It's going to be chaotic because they're going to be pointing fingers and bribed to turn over their money, their information, their locations, everything they have to come clean. Turn over the locations of and their associates of what they've been up to. The person that murders is going to be showing us where they buried the bodies. Everybody's going to have to, and then it's not for. It's going to happen that they have to go to their victims, and their victims will have to judge them. To the point of everybody can be judged without physical harm to the person. Can't be physically harming the person, but you got to pay restitution to whoever you victimize, and that could be the victim, that could be the victim's family, the victim's friends, anybody associated with that has to make you have to be forgiven. Meet their forgiveness without being harmed. When they can forgive you, then you can live your life as a normal person. But you have to, for even a murder, you have to tell them, I killed your son. I killed your daughter. Yeah, you're going to have to tell them, what do you want me to do? Until they've made restitution, they cannot ask for God for forgiveness. There's no such thing as hell except for the hell that we live in. We decide to live in the neighborhoods. We're forced to live in the neighborhoods. We live. I've gone through hell. I've been through hell, and I lived in hell, and too many people have. Everybody in this world has gone through hell. Hell is a relative term. It says in Psalms 138, if I make my bed in hell, even God will be there. Lo, God will be there. Even if I make my bed in hell, he didn't say if I go to hell. He said if I make my bed, that was the mean way I had a choice. It's a relative term. But you're going to go through hell. You know who's going through hell right now? Billy Graham. Why is Billy Graham going to hell? Because he told, how many people did he tell are going to hell? He told everybody that didn't believe like him was going to hell. They're going to hell if they didn't know Jesus. They didn't go to hell if they weren't saved. They got the whole idea of salvation wrong. We're all immortal. Nobody is saved. We're all saved or we're all condemned to live life in hell, going through hell if we're not saved, alone. That's what it means. We're condemning our own selves because we don't want to accept the help of God or understand that God lives within us. He's the reason he gives us life. But if we don't recognize that, we put ourselves through hell. Because why is that everybody that goes into a foxhole and then the mortars start shooting at all around them, like that's happened to me twice in my life, when I was in Vietnam and when I was in Iraq. I wasn't in Vietnam, my brother was, but I was in the service during at the same time, but I was in the Mediterranean. But I was shot at there too. And my brother was definitely shot at. He won. But the point of the matter is, getting off my brother and I, we've gone through hell just like everybody in this world has gone through hell. We put ourselves through hell by being stupid or being forced. You know, if a woman walks the street at 2 o'clock in the morning down a dark alley, she put herself in the wrong place at the wrong time, but she did that on her own. She's stupid. The risks are there. The guy that's hanging out in the gang, he knows the risk of getting himself in trouble. He knows the risk of getting shot, stabbed, everything else. People are being stupid. and then you're in a spot that you can't get out of. Everybody knows the risk. When you go to in the service, you know you have a risk of getting shot, killed. Everybody. When you drive a car, I don't know how to say this. If you drive a car, you know when you're being stupid, and you know when you're pretty much safe. Now, that's not necessarily true. Things can come out of nowhere that you wasn't expecting. But the point of the matter is, for the majority part, if you're riding down the wrong neighborhood or in the wrong area, you're putting yourself at risk and at danger. That's what this whole thing is all about. We haven't paid attention, and everybody's willing to call on God the moment the car does come at them out of nowhere, or the bomb comes. No atheists in a foxhole. Everybody calls out to God, even though God's there all your life. Why is it only when something like that happens that we actually realize God's in us? This is beyond my comprehension. That a religion takes us out of the driver's seat and has us looking down for the side roads, has us texting, has us worried more about the GPS than they do about the driving. They take our attention away from God. And yet the people that wrote the Bible, think about it, when the people that wrote the Bible had to be liars. They wrote it themselves as being justified themselves as murderers, as heroes, and when they were actually murderers. These are the books that we read. And yet people say, oh, you can't talk about the Bible. I believe every word of the Bible. You believe every word of the Bible? Then you're justifying them as being murderers. You're justifying them as saying, yeah, what they did was acceptable. No, it was never acceptable to God. That's what this war is all about. Because nobody cares what God thinks. Nobody does cares what they, but the norm's going to change. We're going to go from being a normal society to very aware that God will not tolerate people killing. He won't tolerate anything, because when you get GODScoin, guess what GODScoin's condition is? First off, every GODScoin is dated for 20 years. Use it or lose it. You can spend it. You can party. You can buy. Travel. You invest. You invent. Do everything you want. Do everything first class or luxury class. Just like when people went on the Titanic, well, that was a luxury liner. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They're going to be building those again. Hopefully they won't be sinking, but like I said, there's going to be luxury liners and aircraft in the air, and you'll be able to afford it. You'll be able to afford to have any car that you want to have, as many cars as you want to have. You can have a car for every day of the week and never drive the same one every day, because you'll be millionaires. But you also have the capability of everybody. Let's go back to GODScoin. The first thing is everybody's going to be doing the banking by phone. Okay, every 18-year-old. The next thing, because you're 18, it's registering you to vote. So that's 9,000. You're adding 9,000 voters into this world. 9,000 voters. Not nine. Well, eventually it'll be 9,000. It's going to be every 18-year-old. So that's pretty much 4 out of every family. At least 2 out of every family at the beginning. 2 out of every family in this world. So out of 9 billion people, 2 billion of those people are going to be voters. If they got siblings when they reach 18, they're going to be voters. Eventually there will be 9 billion voters. Right now, if there's half that many, or even 2 billion voters, it's always going to be 100% of 18-year-olds will be voters. So that tells you right there who's going to run the governments. Okay? Think about the United States. It's only 240 million. We're talking about everybody that's 18 years old able to vote. You got a phone in your hand. Facial recognition, voice recognition, fingerprint identification, hand geometry. Why shouldn't you be able to, the first vote we'll make is to vote from home by phone. Yeah, you'll be able to vote from your home by phone and make arrangements to be voting from your office or a secure location at that particular time. But the idea is you'll be voting from your phone, from home or secure location, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to call for transparency in the government. Everything in the government, all governments, no matter what they're doing, is going to be on reality TV, open for us to watch all day long. And it's for the time it calls itself to order and starts calling off thing. We'll watch it for the time they say to the time it ends, even afterwards, until everybody's thing, and everybody can see every comment, everything that's said during the whole meeting and everything, and they can vote on it that night. They can vote on it that night. They can vote to continue on listening, but with the idea is that everybody's going to be on reality TV. FBI, CIA, Secret Services, Freemasons, everybody is going to be blackmailed, basically. They could, it's extortion, blackmail. Just they're gonna. It's gonna use. God's going to use the same techniques to get everybody. He's just going to call it coming clean. Come clean. God's going to feel everybody come clean. Because you can't hide nothing from God. Think about it. You can't think. There's nothing hidden from God. He knows what you're up to. He knows what you've been up to. He wants you to come clean. You're not going to get any benefits from God until you come clean. When you come clean, you'll have to be forgiven by every other people that you harmed, whether it be family or friends or victims themselves. It's all, you all have to make restitution. You got to be forgiven. Then God can forgive you. But he's not going to forgive you till everybody else does. That's justice. Now, those that say, well, you're forgiven of everything you've done because you know Jesus, this might be true and this might not be true, but God and Jesus are two different, are two separate entities. I don't know what the deal is there. I'm a Christian, but this is reality. I can't tell you no more what God's going to do than Jesus could tell you what God was going to do, because it says in Mark, and also in it's written in the Bible. No one knew the time, not even the angels, a day, the time or the day or the hour when God will come back. Not even Jesus or the angels. That's written in the Bible. God is a separate entity that's over everybody. So don't put Jesus over God, that he has a power over God. No. God is life. Jesus is forgiveness. God is life. And he's the one that decides how your life's going to go. He's the one, every time you got a thought to build something, every time you got a thought to create something, you're doing nothing more but giving God your hands, your feet, your mouth, Anytime you do God's will, you are. When He told Adam and put Adam in the garden, he had a job. He was a caretaker of the garden to name everything and take care of my garden. Take care of the animals, take care of the trees, take care of the plants. He was a caretaker, given a job to do God's will. That was a commandment. Adam, you're going to take care of my garden. You are going to be my hands, you're going to be my feet, and you're going to be my mouth, Adam. That's what God was saying. You are going to be my hands and my feet and my mouth, the extension of me. That's what God is telling everybody. You are an extension of God. And you've been doing it, and you would do it, but if you've done anything in your life, accomplished anything, or been anything in your life, God was behind it. When you decided to go your own way, then you cut God out of your life. You went the opposite direction. What kind of evil's out there? I'm not even sure. We say there's a devil. We say there's a Satan. Is there a Satan, or is that just part of us? Are we that evil that we think we're the best people in the world, and we sit there in church and praise God, and we're thinking, and we don't even know God? We are killing, and we're killers and murderers, and we're defending them. Who do we believe in? Them, or do we believe God? That's going to be your choice. It's going to be every Christian's choice. God, and you can't fool God. He's in your head. He's going to tell you one to another. He's going to say, you ain't getting God's coin. You got something going on there that that you got something to clear up. Or you'll get the God's coin. Everybody, listen to this. You'll get the God's coin, but when you're found out, boom, you're risking it. First off, an investigation, not by the FBI, not by the FBI police, not by anybody like a bounty hunter that wants to dig up the dirt, and they'll withdraw whatever kind of money they want out of your God's coin account, out of your account that they want to dig up the dirt by. And they're going to race each other trying to get the dirt. And when you do get the dirt on you, you're going to lose part of it or all of it. You risk losing part of it, all of it. You're immediately suspended and told just to go home, sit on your hands. Well, lie down. Don't go nowhere. Don't talk to nobody. You can't talk to nobody. You're going to be isolated to your thing, and don't give them any power. Politicians, your clearances are pulled. The thought of you going doing something wrong, and until somebody digs up the dirt, or when they finally come back clean, proves that you're innocent. If they find that you're innocent, they'll get you. They'll get the same. They get more of a reward. You're going to get more of a reward because I'll be making restitution of whatever they lost. The church will. God's living ministry. But this was the case. Everybody's money can be suspended. It's a monitoring device. China. Everybody in China gets God's coin. Guess what? You go back to causing harm, getting your nose into somebody else's business, doing something wrong. Guess what? First thing that stops is the God's coin. It's suspended. If a guy goes and steals, or he murders somebody, or he does something crazy, his whole family doesn't suffer. Gang member. Let's take a gang member, for instance. Gang member wants to leave his gang. He's got to tell everything that he's been doing with who's his associates is, what locations, and what's going to be going on. to all the activities. He's not safe at this moment. His family's not safe, or his friends are not safe. So they're told, they're given sanctuaries, homes, land on government land. They're going to be given a film crew, a producer, architects, designers, engineers, builders, everybody. And they're going to go live in national lands and state parks and things. They're going to be given to live on 30 acres, but they're going to have 2 acres of ground on 30 acres surrounding. Nobody can build within 30 acres of that property. And the film crews will build a castle. They'll build them anything. You know who's paying for that? Advertising to reality TV. They're making their own shows. They're all going to be movie stars. The person that's in jail doing the time, the gang member, he might be in jail. He's got to be in jail. But while he's in jail, he's also, his jail cell is going to be more like a condo. He'll be in a condo, when it will be a big jail cell, but it won't be a 5-star hotel either. But it'll be a place with the reality TV too, and they can watch him and they could talk to him. He might be in a facility where the other inmates are around. Maybe it's not like a condo. Maybe it's just like a jail cell. And the TVs will be in the hallway, so everybody can see it. But you'll be on reality TV and you'll be talking. And everything word you say, you can't be hitting on escape route or talking about what you're, keeping up with the business. You're on reality TV, for God's sake. Everything you say and everything they say to you is on reality TV. So this is what's going to happen with, say, gang member. His family's going to be building them paradise, unlimited funds. The government's going to pay every bit of dime of this. Not the government. TV's going to pay that for everything. TV's going to be paying for it all. And they're going to be building a virtual paradise on government land where nobody else can get to. And the person in there, before he can get there with them, even if he's a murderer, he won't be killed, and he won't be sent to a gas chamber or nothing. Why don't God just kill them or put them in? Because he has unborn in him. He or she has unborn in him. They could harvest their eggs, of course. But the point is, they have unborn in them. They have DNA in them. The DNA is trapped inside them. Why are you taking innocent people and making them suffer? That have nothing to do with your life because you screwed up. So you can do your time behind bars the rest of your life, at least, and your wife can still have your children if they collect your specimens and they're shipped to her. She can have your children by artificial insemination. She can have your children. If a woman's eggs, she's a woman, her eggs are harvested, her husband can still have children through the same method. That's what I'm saying. All they got to do is they can still have the children even if they're there. But you want to get out of jail, so you're gonna fight to be a nice guy, do your time, no more problems or anything like that, so you can go live with them on the paradise they created together on reality TV. It's everybody, the world's going to watch it. You're all going to be movie stars. You'll be movie stars the rest of your life. You'll be watched. You're on reality TV, you're a movie star, but you're also still behind bars. You're confined to some place in the national forest. You're living up to, but you're not on the streets. You're not causing trouble. This is what it's all about. And also, God can't harm a hair on anybody's head. Why? Because God lives inside you. Your DNA has to live on inside you. And also, you're unborn. You have to be born. It's what all this is all about. We never think of the unborn. We never think about our DNA. Now, it's going to be completely aware. That's what life's all about. It's not about you. It's about them. It's about God, and those things living inside you are going to become more important than you. You're not going to be able to take the risks that you had before. You're to enjoy life so they can enjoy life. They're living in you, you're living in them. That's a known fact. It's not theology. This is not a belief. This is the truth. And everybody's got to come to the reality that we cannot think about ourselves. We are only the host of a lot of people. All the way back to your ancestors, we are protecting. And we also protecting life, God. God has to have children. What's going to happen then? Everybody's going to be able to vote. Now, God's going to say one more thing when you're at the bank. He's going to say, for those 18 years old to 40, to be in God's services. If you join God's services at that time, you'll start getting a paycheck. You won't get a paycheck, but you'll get a GODScoin added to your account every month. If a GODScoin's worth $75,000, that means that's almost $900,000 a year income. Everybody's gonna stay at the same job you're at. Don't move from the job you're at. Stay on the job you're at. Learn to do it better. Everybody is going to be free labor to the world. Don't matter where you're at. So you work in the hospital. The hospital's not paying for you. God's Living Ministry is paying for you and GODScoin $900,000 a year. If you're a doctor, you'll probably make more. The point is to make sure that everybody is making way enough money to work at the hospital for free. God's Living Ministry is going to pay the wages. So you're free labor to the world. That means we got the world. Every place in the world is going to have free education. Every place in the world is going to have free hospitalization. Every place in the world is going to have free trash pickup, free road working, free solar installs, free home monitoring, free daycare. If you need a nanny, somebody can be in a living nanny. Somebody will come in to be your maid. Their landscapers will come. But everybody that comes and helps you are students and teachers. Students and teachers will be coming to do your job. Be your landscaper. Build your home. They'll all be students. They're doing their normal job. Paid by me. God's Living Ministry. Let's get this straight. I'm the sole proprietor of God's Living Ministry. It's only me. There's no committee. There's nobody else. Anybody else that is opened up a GODScoin account, or who's going to run, if anything, after I die? The voters. 9 billion people. They take over collectively and run God's Living Ministry. It's never owned by me. I am only the God's messenger. I am the CEO to make sure everything goes off straight. The Industrial Bank of China, its CEO is called Liao Lin. He has a place in California, as well as he lives in Beijing, China, and works out of Beijing, China. Liao Lin has the biggest bank in the world to handle. But even he's not ready for 9 billion people. He's got 1 billion accounts. Maybe 1 billion accounts. I didn't even think he's got any close to 1 billion accounts. But if everybody in China had an account, he'd have close to 1.4 billion accounts. But everybody in China does not have an account, but they will. 9 billion accounts he's not ready for. It'll take all of Chase Manhattan, that second biggest bank, all of Bank of America, and every bank in the world will have to serve collectively to handle all 9 billion accounts in GODScoin. That got to be handled the right way, exactly the right way, because every one of them stated you got 20 years to use it or lose it. Spend, party, have fun, buy cars, travel, do everything you want to do. What happens when everybody has the same problem? They get so much money they can't use it or lose it. You invest, you open your business, you make the brick and mortar, and God's Living Ministry will furnish you the free labor. Open up the business, a landscaping business, a painting business, whatever kind of business you want, solar installers, whatever you want to do, heat and air conditioning. Make your own business, and the way will send you the people, as many employees as you need. Now, you know, I'm saying, if you want, I'll send you, every employee is only there obligated to work for you for 4 hours a day. The other 4 hours, 2 hours of that, is driving time in breaks. To and from work, driving time, and then your breaks, your lunch break, and your smoking breaks, and your going to the bathroom breaks, everything like that. That's all in the, or maybe not going to the bathroom, but smoke breaks, definitely, any break like that. But what I'm trying to say is, it's all common sense. You're gonna have 1 hour of martial arts. Everybody that's in God's services will have 1 hour of martial arts training every day. But you're also, the most important part is you're going to have to attend kindergarten. First year in kindergarten with kindergartners, with 5-year-old, 6-year-old children as a teacher's aide, but you all might be there to learn something, to learn what you didn't learn before. And that could be a language, because these kindergartners will be speaking a different language every day while they're learning. They probably won't have more than 7 languages, or 5 languages. Anyway, 5 languages. 1 for each day of the week. What I'm saying is, everybody's going to have a little, that some can learn something, or they can relearn something, and that you won't be wasting the time, because you got to be there anyway. So you're in that class to help the teacher, to learn something and take care of the kids and teach the little kids too at the same time. So everybody will go to class, kindergarten, starting out first year. Why would you get out of God's Living Ministry if you're getting paid? There's not going to be enlistment time, but there'll be a time when you're getting certified. You'll be getting certified as you go along. Road workers, they'll get certified after first year, and then second year they get another certification until they finally become road designers. Everything just going to keep on going and going and going. Employers, because you're getting free labor, are going to be teaching too. You're going to be an employer. If you're hiring people, you're responsible to teach them as well. Not teach everybody in the thing, but you're going to teach the ones that have to become owners. You're going to be teaching them how you do your job so they can do theirs. You're still responsible to teach because you're getting free labor. So hospitals are free. Everybody in the hospital is free. Why? Because everybody there is working for free. The people, when you go get a barber shop, you're going to get a haircut for free. Well, I can't say that. They're in business. I mean, they're going to have free labor. Their barbers are going to be free labor, but they're still going to charge for the haircut. And why wouldn't the people pay for the haircut? They're going to have more money than they can spend. They have to spend the money. So they're not going to worry about spending $25 for a haircut. It's not going to be cheap. Cheap society is going to say, yeah, well, I'll give you a $50 tip. Why not? Because money's going to be different for us. We're going to have more money than we can issue. So we're going to want the best. So when you open your shop, I don't care if it's a McDonald's, we're going to send you the McDonald's workers. If you're going to open a Burger King, we're going to send you the workers. Day shift, night shift, 24 hours a day. It depends in your location how busy your establishment is and how long your hours will be open. Make your locations close to your home. Don't make them all over the place. You can't be everywhere. Make them close to your home. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do that, but you still gotta be there either virtually or physically. You got to keep up with your own businesses, and you're expected to teach because you're getting free labor. This is how God's things going to work. People will be turning themselves in. It's going to be a chaotic world. Government's going to be turning over their stuff. It's going to be a chaotic world. And at the same time, GODScoin is going to be giving everybody they got a job working for God's services. You're not going to have time to commit a crime. You're not going to have time for your friends because your friends had the same problem as you. It's going to go back to being with your family. It's going to be with God, time with God, and time with your family. There's only two things. You're going back to driving the car, and you're going to be at home. When I say driving the car, you're with God. Your mind is always on them. But as you're building, God's with you. You're building God's streams. This is what we got to become acutely aware of. That we're not building our dreams, we're building God's streams. God's streams for us is everything. A painter doesn't paint on his own. The inspiration comes from God. A writer doesn't write on his own. The inspiration comes from God. Everything comes from you. It says in Psalms, David, you know my next thought. You know my every thought. For David, he said it's too high for me to even attain to this. You know my next thought. You know my every wish. This is what God is all about. But we've been letting man steal God's will and do his will. Religions have been doing that. Governments have been doing that. And then instill fear. First thing they want to do is make us scared of them. Oh, you got to do this. You got to obey this law. This is law. That's instilling the fear. So everybody's living in fear. 1/3 of this world is living in. The women are wearing covered clothing all the way through. The only thing it exposes their hands and feet, and that's not much of them. They can't even look up. They had to cover themselves. And the husbands are living in fear because they can't do any different. They're scared of them. What they can do to them is chastise them, outcasting them, pointing them out. It's like, it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. 1/3 of this world is living under those robes and cannot change their traditional scarf because they're not just scared of the rapists. They're scared of their own people and being outcasted and being cast out. But they're going to have a decision. And the decision is, when they get the money, are they going to be, who's in control? Is it going to be God when God wants the woman to wear a dress and get her hair done without a cover, without a hijab? Come on. She gonna get her nails done? Who's gonna say she can't? God is gonna test everybody. Are you gonna fear for your wife walking down the street? Are you gonna let her hold your hand hand to hand? Because 1/3 of this nation can't walk down the street hand in hand. 1/3 of this world now. I keep on saying nation is wrong. 1/3 of this world. The Muslim world cannot hold hands walking down the street. The women have to walk behind the man. She can't walk with the man. That's just old customs. It wasn't too long ago. It was that a woman couldn't even go to school and be educated. Everybody in Islam and Muslims know this for a fact. Might not have been in their lifetime, but it hasn't been that long ago. Their parents know it. They couldn't have an education. It's only been since 2019 that a woman in Saudi Arabia could drive a car. We're against Gaddafi. We're against Bashar al-Assad. We're against Saddam Hussein. We hung him. These guys, all, not in Iraq, because I was in Iraq, but in Libya and in Syria, the women and religions existed together as they did in Iraq. Kurds lived with Catholics, Christians, and Jews. They all lived freely around each other. In Libya, they all lived together. There was no persecution of religion. Nobody could say nothing about any religion. And this is what happened in Libya. Gaddafi was a model nation, and we assassinated him and his son. Gaddafi was the one that women wore fashions. They took off the hijabs. They let down their hair. They walked without being scared, without being scared of being raped, without being scared of traditions. That's what I'm saying. We don't know each other. God's going to change that too. I'm going to say this in another part. And we'll leave this one. It's been long enough. But this is part 2 of a 3-part series of GODScoin.